Faithful have turned up to Toyota Park to see the Sharks go around the Sea Eagles. Of course, the winner of this game will confirm a place in the 2005 final series. Let's take a look at both teams now. First off, the home side, and there is no changes to the side that was named earlier in the week. David Peachey at fullback. In the halves, it's Nigel Vungana joining Brett Camorley with Adam Dykes out of action, and the coach is Stuart Raper. There are plenty of changes, though, for the Sea Eagles. Steve Matai will join Paul Stevenson in the centres. Brett Stewart is the fullback. Donald and Hicks are on the wings. At 5'8", Sam Harris will wear 17, and Luke Williamson will start at hooker. On the bench, it's Lulawai, Dunley, Witt and Cleal. The coach is Des Hasler. Our referee arriving on the scene is Tim Mander this afternoon. Standing by for a start, Chris Hicks gets us underway. The Sharks will have the help of a minor breeze in this first half, and it's Danny Nutley who brings it back out towards the 20 to be meted there by a whole group of defenders, including Watmo and also Kennedy. They take it forward, and they'll play it here at the 20-metre line. Here is Kingston working it from dummy half, coming to his left-hand side for Stevens. Kingston again as they take it across that 30-metre line. Paul Gallen playing in the 11 jumper this afternoon. Of course, more used to seeing him as a lock forward, but Matt Hilder fills that role this afternoon. Here's Bailey. As we said, a couple of weeks back from a broken arm. He wasn't due to be back until perhaps the last game of the regular season, but he's out there today. They realise it is a desperate situation for the Sharks, having won just 3 of their past 11 games. Hicks it is who brings it back out for the Sea Eagles to the 20-metre line. Yeah, solid start there by the Sharks, just looking to get over the advantage line, getting to their kick. Oh, Matai nearly coming up with a mistake on his first carry. He'll play it there to Williamson, who goes to Menzies. Williamson working things from dummy half with Chad Randall out of action, and now Menzies driven back inside the 20. They've had a net gain of -1 metres in the last couple of tackles. Here's Bryant now, bumping it forward, losing the ball in the tackle of Bailey. Vungana gives it off to Dave Simmons, who comes back midfield, and then he's wrapped up by Ben Kennedy over the top. That will be the 0 tackle, so a great chance here for the Sharks with a full set of 6 from just outside the 20. Gallen. He will play it here for Kingston. Peachey is at first receiver on the left-hand side. The dummy half, though, goes back through Nutley to Stevens. Now they shift it on for Vungana, who was almost away. He was stopped there by Jason King, but only just. Watmo was also there. Here is Camorley. A good ball for Peachey, offering one inside. Coming through and hitting a hole was Beau Scott. Had he hung on to it, he scores the opening try of the game. Yeah, that's when the Sharks are at their best, when David Peachey gets into that second receiver role and he floats across the field, looking for someone to come out of the line, and Beau Scott hitting the hole, just couldn't control the pass. Oh, opportunity gone begging there for the Sharks. This is what Stuart Raper was hoping for, to get David Peachey involved early in the contest. The more he's involved early, the better he seems to play. Here's Watmo heading left, and now the fire up in defence again here, Nutley and also Kingston. Done a good job at this end of the field defensively, this Sharks line. Now King. He'll be stopped there again by a trio of tacklers. Nutley and Bailey once more in there. Here's Kennedy. He was an ever-present danger to offload in a tackle, and as we said, his combination with Brett Stewart is one that has been developing in 2005. Now Monahan kicking from his own 30-metre line. The breeze really has died here. The Sharks perhaps thinking they might have had a bit more assistance in the first half, but as they hit the field, the wind died. And there isn't too much to speak of it at the moment, and the kick from Monahan was a good one. Well, it's important, the kicking game from Manly, especially when they get into good field position. Last week against Newcastle, it was their lack of ability to apply pressure at the back end of their sets, which allowed Newcastle to get out of trouble. But if they can control their sets a lot better, apply a bit of pressure to the Sharks, make them work it off their own line, they are in with a big show. Harris coming up with a good tackle here on Stevens.
Yeah, combination. You've got to have ball control, Jason.
Stevens lost it as he went to the turf, but Harris might have hurt himself in the tackle. He clutched at his groin or upper thigh region straight away, and we'll see how he fares in the next couple of minutes. He might be a little slower on his toes for a moment or two. Here's Stevenson, though, as Manly get a chance with their first foray deep into Sharks territory. Stewart at dummy half will go to Anthony Watno. Running back in, trying to get between the markers and the A defenders, but he was stopped there by Paul Mellor, and now Danny Nutley races in to join the tackle of Hilder and also Bailey. Williamson behind the decoy man King. Monahan, a spinning pass. It comes to Kennedy, who tries to spin himself in a couple of tackles. He'll play it 10 metres out for Manly. Monahan on this left-hand side has Watmo with him. He grubbers in behind them, but the kick is way too big. Simmons had no choice to make. The kick was always going to beat everybody across the dead ball line. And if anything now, having started the game with a slight breeze at their backs, the breeze has swung around to the north here, and Manly seem to have the breeze behind them, Laurie.
Yeah, it's always a difficult place to come and play here at Toyota Park as they give away a penalty. The referee, Tim Mander, has called play on to Phil Bailey.
But you weren't tackled, and I've called play on.
Bailey was looking to get up and play it quickly for his team, but Mander had called play on. It's a tough call, but it's a correct one.
It was tough for Phil Bailey there. You sometimes see it, and we saw an instance of it on Friday night where Matt Utai looked to be tackled, but bounced back to his feet and was able to play on. It can go both ways. On that occasion, though, it hurts the Sharks, and here are Manly at them again. King coughs it up with the first carry. On play number 1, they turn it over. And, of course, the Manly fans have seen too much of that in recent times. One of the reasons they've lost 6 of their past 7.
Well, it's been their inability to get out of the blocks with Manly over the last 6 weeks. We mentioned it in the pre-game show. They've conceded plenty of points. And when you play away from home, you can't do that. You've got to go hard early.
Here's Nutley playing it at the halfway line. Stevens takes it to the 40. He'll be stopped there. They've used up 4 tackles in this set of 6. Kingston comes back to Kamali. He bypasses Hilder to give it to Gallen. Beau Scott spinning in the tackle there of Matai and also Menzies, playing in just his 3rd NRL game today. Gallen will go to Kamali on the last play. He'll put it high in the air and should hang there somewhat in this breeze. Here's Stewart under pressure and got cleaned up by Mellor. As a result, the ball went backwards, but Stewart might be in a bad way here.
Oh, he got cleaned up there by Paul Mellor. The Sharks making plenty of statements with their defence early in the game. They're really hunting as a pack, moving up, forcing errors out of the Manly side. And there was a pass from Sam Harris.
Just wait, Ben. It's nothing to do with you.
Well, Tim Mander wants to take a look and see what happened here in the in-goal area. All that happened while Stewart was being attended to by a trainer. They're almost on top of him. There's the tackle. He is rubber-legged and being helped from the field.
Well, their last 2 home games, the Sharks have taken out a couple of key players for the opposition team. Of course, a couple of weeks ago, they took out Scott Hill, and it was all legal. There you see the no-try line dropout. He doesn't look to be in a good shape, young Stewart.
Well, there was heavy contact with Mellor coming through, wasn't there? Here's Monahan, the goal line dropout. It will bounce down towards Dave Simmons, who will bring it back at this all-white Manly defensive line today. Kingston goes to Nutley, showing on his outside, trying to get away from the Bryant tackle, and was almost able to do so. Williamson that was there to stop him, as Stevens now winds up and heads towards the post. Watmow down low, Sam Harris over the top. They're coming at them, though, with plenty of intent. In this set of 6, Kamali is called to play on here. He wasn't tackled by Harris. He'll play it a metre away. Kingston to Peachy, floating one way, still going to the right-hand side. He bounces up to go again. Another Manly defender has been left behind the line. That's Michael Monahan, who's injured now. He may have a problem with an arm or a wrist, the captain. Peachy playing it for Kingston. Here's Kamali, grubbering in behind them. Vangana is there. He had a chance and dropped it. There was a try there in the offing.
Well, Manly are just hanging on. He can see Michael Monahan. He was in all sorts of trouble, but they defended it so well. There's the other injured player, Brett Stewart. And then the last tackle option of Brett Kamali. Bounced up perfectly for Vangana. He just couldn't control the football. Here they are again, the Sharks. Good defence.
Look in, fill your ass.
They'll work it away through Scott Donald, not listed in the program, of course, wasn't picked in the first 20 or so players. Manly named plenty with so many injuries and illnesses during the week, but Donald gets a chance with both Terry Hill and Ashley Alberts out with a virus from today's game. And Donald has been missing from the NRL for some weeks now, had a couple of below par games according to the Manly coaching staff, and hence he hasn't been in the NRL for some weeks now. Here's Michael Witt, who is out there in 18. He comes off the bench early in this game. We haven't had 10 minutes yet, and Manly might have to go to their bench once again pretty quickly here. Here's Witt. Speaking of players who haven't seen much NRL time in recent times, he another out of favour over there on the Northern Peninsula.
Well, it's a good opportunity, isn't it, for Michael Witt to prove himself leading into the semi-finals for Manly. He's been put back into Premier League. We all know that he's a wonderful goal kicker, but Des Hasler wanted a lot more out of him in general play. And a few weeks ago, the Dragons really found him out as a spot player in the defensive line. They really aimed some traffic at him. He missed plenty of tackles.
Here is Paul Mellor. There's a half chance for him there. It closed down eventually. He can motor the big man. Here's Nutley, taking it back up towards the halfway line. Still no score on NRL Sunday between the Sea Eagles and the Sharks as they take it across the halfway line. Matt Hilda will play it there. Kingston getting to dummy half on the last. It comes to Kamali, who will kick for the corner away from Stevenson, who's back there at fullback. He'll pick it up in his own in goal, and Kamali led the charge downfield and almost got to him to stop him in the in-goal area as Stewart makes that long, slow trip back towards the dressing room.
Well, you love the enthusiasm of Brett Kamali. He comes down at 100 mile an hour, but he has to be careful because when the fullback returns the ball, as Manly look to move it wide, they've created the overlap to Donald.
Good tackle there by Simmons. He went across the top of him though, and Donald was called to play on by the referee.
And getting back to Brett Kamali, when he goes down at 100 mile an hour, any change of direction by the fullback, he throws out the arm, he's susceptible for a high tackle and give away a penalty.
Kennedy will play it 5 metres into Sharks territory on the last play here. Williamson to Monahan, who will kick in behind Peachy, who will take it on the full, do a lap between the posts, and then fire an instruction to Luke Cavell. He's met a solid tackle though by Michael Monahan. He looks to be okay now, but to get a report on Brett Stewart, let's go down to Greg.
Yeah, look, Brett Stewart had to be assisted right into the dressing sheds. He copped a pretty heavy knock to his back. He's having trouble walking. That's caused Desi Hasler to reshuffle the back line. Paul Stevenson, as we've just seen, is back at fullback. Steve Menzies has gone out to the left centre, and Michael Witt's on at 5'8".
And what was an already reshuffled lineup, the changes continue early in the game here for Manly, and now they concede a penalty. And the Sharks will once again come on the attack. They've had some chances, both sides have, to open this game, but as has been the theme lately for both of them, they have struggled to convert them. The Morley's kick for line picks up the best part of 20 metres, and they'll tap it here through Kingston. Nutley it is, who lines up and sees Harris and Bryant there, but he's able to offload and give it to Peachy. He stands a long time in the tackle before conceding to it. Here's Vangana. His speed could be dangerous at a dummy half this afternoon, and he will get more chance to do what he just did. He'll play it here inside that Manly 20 again. Kingston to Kamali with Bailey White to his outside. Stevens, though, down the middle, gave it to Kingston. He was able to hang on to it. He'll play it 7 metres away. Here's Hilda. It goes to Kamali. In behind them. He'll score the first try of the afternoon. The captain gets across the line. The Sharks finally find a way to the in-goal area. It's 4 points to 0.
Yeah, good start by Brett Kamali. Plenty of touches this afternoon. There's no Adam Dykes. A lot more responsibility is falling on his shoulders. And it was the inside ball to Jason Stevens. His ability to offload to Kingston. And then there was a quick play the ball at Kamali. The show and go. Couple of Manly defenders starting to slide, going with the football, and all of a sudden off the right foot, Kamali steps back on the inside.
Slight cross breeze to contend with here. But the kick is a good one. It is the Sharks 6 who lead the Sea Eagles 0. Stuart Raper would be happy to see his captain come up with the first try of the afternoon. They moved up quickly on the outside, thinking that's where the pass was going. But he snuck back on the inside to find half an opening, and that's all he needed. Almost a quarter of an hour gone here, and of course we highlighted before the game, Warrie, Manly's lack of the point scoring ability in the 20 minutes to open games in their last 5 efforts. They've been outscored 48 points to 4 in the first quarter of the game in the last 5 weeks.
Well, that'd be disappointing and concerning for their coach, because in the games they do make runs, Manly. They do come at you, but invariably they've given up plenty of points at the start of the game. It's been too hard to peg back.
The complete opposite, of course, to what we saw back in round 2 between these two sides, where Manly led 24 points to 0 at one stage against the Sharks at Brookvale. Here's Warringah. Bryant got to him, but only just. Otherwise, it was Stevenson and the try line next. Here's Bailey coming back on the angle. Menzies gets to him, as does Monahan, and they drive him backwards in the tackle. Has shown no ill effects to that left arm, which is heavily wrapped to date. Here's Kamali kicking, wanting it to stay in play. It does, and then coming up with a good take. Paul Stevenson got there and was able to hang on to it for Manly.
He did terrifically well there, Stevenson. It was a double kick of the football. The first one was by Kamali, the next one by Simmons. It was straight in the hands. Done well to trap it. Could have been a knock on. They could have been under all sorts of pressure once again, this Manly team.
Menzies being picked up and driven for the second time in the game inside his own 20. He won't take too many more hit-ups at that end of the field. He hasn't had a great success rate this afternoon. Twice now they've been able to pick him up and drive him back a long way. Kennedy just composes himself for a moment. The former captain adjusts the headgear in behind the line. Now Stevenson, the fullback, taking the hit up on play number 5. Here's the last. And it's Michael Witt who will do the kicking. Cavella's floating back there. He'll be able to get to it on the full. 15 out from his own line. After a couple of early sets of 6 inside the Sharks 20, Manly haven't had a tackle anywhere near the Sharks try line to speak of in the ensuing 15 minutes. And here are the Sharks once again back at the halfway line.
Well, they're building this performance all in their defence, the Sharks. They've been very aggressive, a lot more aggressive than what they've been over the past 6 weeks. Really hunting with numbers in the defensive line. They're working hard at the play the ball, controlling the ruck area, and therefore it gives them a chance when the next ruck's coming by Manly.
Here's a chance. Warringah, a good ball on the inside for Simmons. If he pins the ears back, he'll score. He should have gone for the line that cost them a try. He was stopped by Donald and Stevenson. Here's Kamali. He'll chip over the top. Off the post, it's still there. Knocked backwards by Kingston. And then Hilda was there to put it down.
From the field of play and knock the ball back in. It will be the 5th and last.
Well, they might have got there, but they've gone via the cape to do it after the speedy Simmons had only the fullback in front of him and hesitated when he shouldn't have. And now they might have still got there off this kick by Kamali.
Well, I think you're right. I think Simmons, if he had to pin the ears back, would have got there. There's the kick off the upright. Kevin Kingston's chasing. Does he come from the field of play? I think he does. And then the grounding from Hilda. Well, this will be spectacular. Kingston chasing the football. It bounces in the air. The feet do not go over the line. He's in the air. He's knocked it back. Now, who touches the football first? If it's simultaneous, it's a try. There you can see he keeps it back in the field of play in the end goal. Now it comes down to the video referee. Is there a double touch, or does Monahan get there before Matt Hilda? And here we await the video referee's decision. Phil Cooley awards the try. And Manly once again conceding points in the first 20 minutes of a game.
Well, Brett Kamali scored the first try himself. He set up the second one, but they should have scored here through David Simmons as they went to the right-hand side. Kamali, a nice ball there to Warringah, and he was able to draw and pass back on the inside. Simmons kept looking for a support player with his speed. I have no doubt had he just gone for the line, he'd have made it. And the kick, though, was a lucky one in some ways, but probably aiming for it, maybe. Brett Kamali got the bounce he was looking for. From right in front, Luke Cavell will have no problem with this, you'd imagine. It's 12 points to 0, and the Sharks, with 21 minutes to go before half-time, are on their way to becoming team number 7 to qualify for these 2005 finals. Matt Hilda, the try scorer. backing up on the plate, staying alive, and was able to plant the ball down. 18 tries now in his career, 3 in 2005, as Michael Witt gets us back underway. David Peachey will take it on the full and give it to Danny Nutley to bring it back out. Stopped there by Shane Dunley, who's out there now for the Seagulls in 15. They haven't been helped, of course, their chances, with Brett Stewart off very early in the game, hitting a heavy tackle by Paul Mellor. And you would think, from what we saw, it took him an age to get back to the dressing room. We won't see him again this afternoon. Beau Scott will play it. It comes to Kingston. Acrobatic work, wasn't it, up against the dead ball line to knock it back for Hilda. Now a pass which was almost taken by Monaghan. Kamali got to it though. Here's Mellor. Now Simmons has a chance again. He weaves in behind them. Good tackle though by Menzies. He chopped him down. Will give away a penalty though. He hung on to the leg and stopped Simmons from getting back to his feet. And the Sharks will kick for the line and have another set of 6 inside the Manly 20.
Yeah, once again, the offloading ability of the Sharks players. It's been a real strength of theirs this season. When it happens and they execute it well, can also be a bit of a problem for them. But when they're in this type of mood, they are a good football team to watch.
Nutley playing it for Kingston. Here's Stevens taking them on himself. He runs at the smaller, well, he looks smaller anyway, Bryant, bumped him out of the way. Now Bryant is struggling behind the line. Kamali runs in behind Bailey, and there's an obstruction. Bailey came through and cleaned up Steve Menzies, and Brett Kamali just about gave himself up.
Well, Brett Kamali puts the hand up. He says he's sorry. There's no complaining there. You just watch him. Walks through, still wants to score the try. Unfortunately, they don't give them ones.
He was going to run through a hole which would have been created, of course, by Phil Bailey, and hence he stopped on his run, and the referee very quickly blew the whistle. Some good defence again here by the Sharks. Nutley was there, driving back Anthony Watno. Kylie Lulawai gets a chance coming off the bench. His first touch of the game, he'll play it at the 30-metre line. They need something special, and maybe Lulawai with his defence and ability to carry the ball can provide something for Manly, but they have been outplayed until this little point here where Dunley goes across the top and throws a ball for Simmons, as it turns out. Well, it was building for them on that left-hand side, but the intercept taken by Simmons gives the Sharks yet another chance. Here's Peachey coming to Gallen, holding off Witt and giving a ball to Beau Scott. He's able to shrug away from Williamson, looking for Cavell. Now he finds him. He weaves in some traffic, straightens, and he's stopped 10 metres out by Lulawai. Peachey goes to Kamali, running at them. What a danger he is. Stevens looking for the line. Will put the ball on it, under the black dots, and score the 3rd try of the day for the Sharks. It's 16-0.
Well, on the back of a Manly mistake, Shane Dunley. He's dangerous out of dummy half, but he tried to force the issue. The pass didn't need to be made. He thought there was some space on the outside for Donald, but he needed to execute well. Simmons was on the spot, and from there it was a quick play the ball. Kamali across field, isolates Kennedy one-on-one with the big man Jason Stevens. Kennedy goes low. When you go that low on a big man close to the line, you would think the momentum is always going to carry you across. Probably needed to attempt the tackle around the football and try and wrap it up and hang on to Jason Stevens. But
it's 18 points to nil. Kamali involved in all 3 tries so far, and they're repaying the Seagulls for that blitzing first half that they put on at Brookvale back in round 2. Manly were able to score 4 tries uncontested on that occasion. This time it's the Sharks looking to do the same as we go downstairs to Greg.
Yeah, look, coming into this game, no team had made more mistakes than the Sharks, but we spoke to Brett Kamali before the game. He said we do have a habit of pushing things, but when we build pressure, there's probably no better team, and they're certainly showing that. I agree with Laurie and Warren. Look, they're forcing the error out of Manly by their defence. Their defence has been terrific. They're forcing Manly to kick out of their own end, but Brett Kamali has been the man. We highlighted him before the match. He's come up with a try and 2 try assists.
He has been impressive. Here is Gallen. Stop at the halfway line by Matai and also Witt. Peachy from dummy half goes to Kamali. Now Hilda across the halfway line. Another chance here. 5 line breaks to the Sharks, none to Manly so far. Here's Kamali again, make it 6 line breaks. Here he comes to Kingston. He goes past him though to Beau Scott, and the Sharks are in for try number 4. It is a carve up of the highest order at the moment, and they might have quite a scoreline in mind here this afternoon.
Well, if it wasn't going to be a try, it was going to be a penalty awarded to the Sharks. Vangana was taken out, trying to get into position to support Brett Kamali. And Kamali running the football. There you can see Vangana getting taken out by Shane Dunley, and what a pass on to young Beau Scott. Kamali, I think he's really enjoyed the extra responsibility here this afternoon. I think he enjoys the sets where he can get his hands on the football a number of times.
Again, he sticks it over the black dots, and it's 24 points to 0. Here's Hilda, one of the try scorers already today, and there have been 4 of them. He'll play it back to Kingston. Nutley running at Matai, who made a good solid tackle. He bumped away from him, Nutley, but Witt was able to stop him before Matai came again. And now Matai will be penalised. He got his arm tangled up there with Danny Nutley. Well, things haven't been going the way of the Seagulls in the past 2 months. They are unfolding in a big way here today against the Sharks.
Yeah, they need to be careful here, the Eagles. The body language is very poor. Their heads drop when they give away that penalty. They've got to respond. And the game might be gone from them, but you've got to remember, as you were talking about before, the for and against, and also the strike back mentality, knowing if they get into the game further on in this season, when they've been in situations they can come from behind.
Here's Kamali taking it to the line, met there by Harris, and then Dunley came racing in to try and put a big hit on the Sharks halfback. Kingston from dummy half turns it back for Vangana, who changes the angle. Here's Peachy going in behind Mayava. There was no disadvantage there for the Manly defenders, said the referee, and it was play on. Now Kingston comes to Kamali. Mayava on his outside, running at Michael Witt, who made a good tackle there. Smallest man on the field up against one of the bigger ones, and he chopped him down. Now Vangana throws a dummy, and Michael Witt at marker got involved in a push and shove with Hutch Mayava, forgot about the man at dummy half, and Vangana strolled in.
Well, again, disciplined Manly, getting involved in things they don't need to do. And there you see Witt going the wrong way with Luke Williamson. There was no communication from marker. Both markers going the same way. And Vangana picked the football up and went, well, here's a chance.
Here's Cavell. He might wear that left boot out the way he's going. So this one will swing away to the right-hand side. He misses from not a difficult angle, and Steve Rogers checking his mobile phone, perhaps for scores from other grounds, or perhaps thinking ahead to maybe next week.
Well, of course, Steve was named in the 70s team of the century, or team of the decade, I should say.
What enjoying things this afternoon, and of course, recognise this strip that the Sharks wore during the 70s. Still looking for their first ever title. David Peachy, again in the last couple of days, speaking how he would love to round out his career here at Cronulla with a title. Well, it's hard to gauge their form, of course, today against this Seagull side, depleted as it is. And now here's Gallen of a Nutley pass. He comes to Stevenson. Gallen can really motor for a forward, and he'll play it here just outside the 30. Luluwai now going down the park. It comes back to Kingston. He stopped at the 20-metre line by Kane Cleal. Kamali lining up on the left-hand side. They are once again. They'll play it there through Clifford Manure, who gets his side 9 metres out from the Seagulls line. Gallen from dummy half. It comes back to Kamali, grubbering in again behind them. He gets a bounce. That's try number 6. And you can't believe how easily they're doing it here at the moment.
Well, it's just been terrific football by the Sharks. Look at that pass by Danny Nutley. Great skill by the front rower. The offloading ability of this Sharks outfit. Gallant quick play the ball, and Brett Kamali sums it up. A rebound, but once again gets himself in a position to retrieve the football back. 32-0 kick to come. And I'll tell you what, with this type of form, the Sharks can win semi-final games.
Cavell makes it 34 points to 0. They're going at better than a point a minute at the moment. Can you believe what you're seeing, Gregory?
Oh, look, it's great to see Brett Kamali in such good form. Now, the Sharks, 5 out of their last 8 games would have been played here at Toyota Park. That was always going to be a huge advantage. They were great here against the Storm a fortnight ago. They go up to Energy Australia Stadium next week. Oh, I think we can be thinking about next week already with this scoreline. And then they play South Sydney at home here in their last game. But Brett Kamali, hasn't he been terrific? 2 tries, 3 try assists. It's a sort of performance they needed from their skipper today.
Here is Mayava bringing it back out. And, well, as you say, it seems a foregone conclusion already with 46 minutes to play in the game that Manly will be beaten rather badly here this afternoon. And despite their poor form, as the Sharks are off again, they move it down the field through Kingston, who runs inside the 30. It's men against boys at the moment. Here's Peachy giving it to Kamali. A flat pass on his outside. Clifford Manua, a ball back in the inside for Paul Mellor. Manly haven't touched the ball in what seems like a quarter of an hour, and the Sharks might be on their way to the century, Laurie.
Well, what do you say? Some terrific skill, and we spoke about the need for the Sharks to improve their execution and their control if they were to win here this afternoon, because it has let them down. But today, everything they are doing is turning to gold. And what about this pass? Bang off the ground, great hands, terrific try. You enjoy coming to Toyota Park when you see the Sharks play this champagne style.
Cavell with the angle, trying to hook it back. He allowed for the breeze from that western side of the ground, but it didn't push it back. But the scoreline is still 38 points to 0. There's time for 2 more tries the way they're going.
Desi Hasler, he can just sit there and look. He'd be extremely disappointed with his team. Doesn't matter how many plays you've had in doubt leading into the week and what your preparation's like. When you take the field, you've got to give a good account of yourself. But Manly, they've just been up against a red-hot football team. They can control nothing. They have struggled to control the ruck. They've struggled to control field position. And the Sharks really set this game up. Oh, as a high tackle comes there by Matai.
Have a look at it. Just take it easy.
Was Clifford Manua bringing it out, and he was stopped here by Matai, who got him right across the jaw.
Take the head, okay? So it's a penalty, okay, mate?
Well, Tim Manders.
And we're going to put it on report because he is injured.
I thought Tim Mander then was going to let him get away with that and just give him a penalty. That was a similar tackle to the one he was charged by the match review last week on Craig Smith.
No, you're exactly right. And as you said, they went down there on Wednesday night and fought a case with so many injuries. They needed Steve Matai to be available for this game, with both Hill, of course, and Ashley Alberts out of action today with a virus. And Matai was able to beat that charge.
Just present the same case.
Well,
if charged.
Maybe the match reviewers, having seen what happened after referring the last one on the Craig Smith tackle, they may not even charge that one. We'll wait and see. Little fumble there. One of the few times in the game the Sharks have made an error. Here is Gallant taking it up to the halfway line. 3 minutes out from the break, and it's 38 points to nil, Nutley. Harris came up, racing up out of the line, trying to put a tackle on, and now Dunley wants to throw punches.
Are you making a complaint? Okay, think about it before you do.
Well, there's
talk to your captain.
Drama here. Let's hear what Shane Dunley has to say.
You will make allegation about it. You can't withdraw it afterwards. I'm giving you a chance now. Are you going to make an allegation? No? Okay, penalty.
Now let's have a look at this. Here is Shane Dunley over the top, and then Danny Nutley puts his hand on the face there of Shane Dunley. Well, that's inarguable. But there was the suggestion from Shane Dunley that there was an eye gouge. Well, couldn't really make a case from what we saw just there, of course, remembering Ryan Cross served 6 weeks on the sideline for the Roosters for an eye gouge. Dunley didn't go on with the complaint, but gee, it's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube after on national TV you say, I was eye gouged, sir, and then don't go on with it. Vungana coming to Gallen. Bounces off the tackle there of Stevenson. Shane Dunley is also there once again. Here's Kingston. We'll get back to the potential eye gouge. We'll get a chance now to talk about it with a mistake. And now they want to get on with it, the boys. Gallen and Dunley want to shape up. There's some spite in the game suddenly for what is a 38 points to nil scoreline. And Tim Mander will have his work cut out once again here.
Paul here. You've dropped the ball, then you've got up and chucked the ball at him. That's going to get anybody upset. Okay, it's not necessary, and that's caused a little scuffle. Okay, we're going to penalise you for doing that. Okay? No, you can't, Brett.
Well, Manly will get a penalty here. Here's the incident again with Nutley and also Shane Dunley. Dunley quite plainly got up and complained to the referee about an eye gouge, and we will see what the match reviewers make of that. Whether he's complained or not should be inconsequential. You can't be out there accusing players of eye gouges and then not going on with it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the match review have a look at tomorrow and what types of evidence they may call upon. They may want a statement from Dunley after the game.
Here's a penalty going the way of Manly. There's a bit of niggle in this game, isn't there, towards the end of the first half. Here's Monahan to Menzies as they work it down that right-hand side. Donald from dummy half will come back to the captain. Here's Kennedy in behind a decoy run by Kane Clear, but there was no rhythm or connection there between the pass and the hit up by Kennedy. He's trying to pinch a couple of metres here and perhaps milk a penalty. He'll get no joy there from Tim Mander. Michael Witt dummying his way through the line, got past Kingston. Now they'll drive him backwards. Peachy was there. They'll stop him 15 out from the Sharks line. Dunley, Monahan as they search for points, something to take out of this first half. Here comes Dunley again. He gets in behind Gallen. Kamali stopped him a couple of metres away. Stevenson waits at dummy half. 22 seconds left in the first half. He goes from that position, Stevenson, but they were waiting for him. Kamali was there, so was Peachy and Mayava. Dunley comes back to Witt. He puts in a crossfield kick. Menzies had a chance to take it and put it down and score. And now Simmons is away. Donald can run, so can Hicks. The cover is back there. Kennedy will make the tackle. 40 out. We have 000s on the clock, waiting for a siren. No siren as yet. Here's Peachy dummying to Kamali. Gallen gets it. Maddai steals it. He gives it off to Williamson. Now the siren sounds. Manly are away through Hicks. Beau Scott stops him. And what a frantic end of the first half. A half of football that featured 38 points, all of them to the home side. We'll see if they go on with it here. They've never scored 40 points in a game against Manly. And they have a number of records in the offing here today in this second half. Kane Cleal brings it back out to get the second half underway. Here's Menzies to Luluai. We will find out what Des Hasler and Stuart Raper said to their teams at half-time. As we said at the break, there wouldn't be much to say to the Manly Seagulls in the sheds there at half-time. They would have been embarrassed by giving up 7 tries in that first half, and we'll see how they perform in the second half. Monahan from dummy half will get the kick away. Peachy racing across, knew there was a 40-20 there. Hadn't got to the sideline, but he picks it up at his own goal and races back with plenty of speed towards Menzies, who chops him down. They get through their first set of 6 Manly without incident. They only had 12 sets of 6, and that is a remarkably low number in that first 40 minutes. Here is Manua running, and Matai, who was placed on report for a high tackle in the first half. He plays it here. It goes to Kingston, who tries to weave in between them. Well, Manly had 3 markers there, and referee Tim Manor said it was play on, but surely Steve Matai was an influence in the play, and it could have easily been a penalty for the Sharks. They hardly need one, though, at the moment, doing it as comfortably as they are, as Kamali, from just inside his own half, puts a kick down towards Paul Stevenson, remembering he's been there at fullback since the early minutes of the game after Brett Stewart was injured in a tackle by Paul Mellor.
You've got to see what type of mindset the Sharks have in this second 40 minutes and what they spoke about at halftime. I'm sure Stuart Raper would want them to continue on with the way that they played, but not try and force the issue too much. Make sure they still work on their execution, because that's an area that they really need to improve.
There's a ball back on the inside here for Kennedy. There was a 4-on-3 chance there for Manly, but given the way things have gone for them this afternoon, they found a way to ruin the overlap that was building for them on that right-hand side. Now Dunley to Williamson. It takes it across the halfway line. He'll play it back here for Dunley, who saw a gap and was almost through it. He was involved in some controversy himself from the first half with an eye gouge claim, which he didn't continue on with to the referee. We'll see what is made of that after the game. Here's Simmons. Kamali takes it. He was offside, and Manly will get a penalty here. 10 out from the Sharks line. Ben Kennedy grimacing there, of course. He had a fight all week to shake off a corked calf muscle to be fit for this game today. Now Cleal will almost get to the line here down the short side from the tap. We'll see if the Sharks drop off the intensity in this second half. I'm sure Stuart Raper would like them to go on and rack up quite a score here.
It's just a good test for your mental capabilities. It's really a testing 40 minutes for the Sharks.
Watmate goes to Monahan. He bypasses Kennedy. Witt, a pass knocked down by Kamali. It comes back to Shane Dunley, who shrugs away from the Sharks captain. Now he straightens as he comes to Philip Luluwai, and he stops him 10 out from the line. Watmo again from dummy half, coming towards the post, trying to bounce off the tackle there of Mayava and also Manua. Menzies to Witt, a short ball for Kennedy, stopped by Beau Scott, who was one of the try scorers, 6 of them in that first half. Now Witt, a pass bypassing Monahan, picked up by Cleal. Dunley has it. He beats the Simmons tackle. Now he does a complete 360. He comes back to where he started, to Menzies, and it's Simmons who makes the tackle on the back rower, and then there was a flop. And the Sea Eagles will continue on here with possession.
Well, that's what the Manly side would be hoping for, to get the same amount of ball that the Sharks had in the first 40 minutes. If they get 70-75% ball in the second half, well, they're quite capable of scoring points themselves. We speak about a mental challenge for the Sharks. They have to come up with some good plays in the second 40, and starting with their defence. That's what won them the right to score 38 points in that first 40 minutes. They based their game on defence. Let's see how we go at the start of the second half.
Here's Monahan going wide again. Witt just batting it on. It came away to Paul Stevenson, but he was stopped there by Gallen, who was up very quickly. So was Kamali. He'll play it at the 20-metre line. Monahan with Williamson into half a gap which closed between Scott and also Manua on that left-hand side of the field. Hicks comes back to Monahan. An inside ball for Kane, clearly got past Kamali. Now he dumps it backwards. Picked up by Chris Hicks. He's under pressure and knocks it on. And finally, the Sharks, well, no, they're not. Manly get a penalty here.
But you have hit him hard.
And the tackle from Kamali on Hicks was high, said the referee. And so Manly's pressure will continue.
Well, it's their 4th set in a row. Chris Hicks is down on the ground, trying to come to. Here he jumps on the football. Kamali comes across, gets him a little bit high. Not much contact there. Loses the ball forward.
Chris Hicks slow to get back to his feet. Looks to be okay now. Michael Monaghan will find the line 10 metres out from the Sharks try line. 5.5 minutes gone in this second half, and Manly have been pretty much camped at this end of the field inside the Sharks 20 for all of it. Williamson gives it to Kane Cleal. See if they can hang on once again here, the Sharks. Monaghan to Kennedy. He had Luluwai on his outside. The pass for Witt went to ground, and Vangana has it for the Sharks.
Good work, Nigel Vangana. The temptation would have been there to try and pick it up and try and scoot 100 metres down the field, but instead he went the 1%er, dived on the football.
And after all that defence, you could excuse the Sharks for being a bit sluggish in this sort of six, but they sensed there was a chance straight away, and everybody was up there putting their hand up for the next hit up. Here's Gallen. He'll take it down and offload it to Kamali. Here he comes again, the halfback. He's got Mellor on his outside. Mellor had the pass in front of him. It went in behind Simmons and across the sideline. As we take a look for this scrum descent, let's go downstairs to Greg Alexander for that halftime report.
Yeah, look, both coaches were speechless. One didn't have to say anything. The other, he didn't know what to say, and that was Des Hasler. Both did speak about the importance of this second half in terms of the rest of the season. Stuart Raper spoke about momentum for the final 2 rounds and how important it is to continue what they showed in the first half in this second stanza. Manly will be down to 15 players, though. That won't help them. Sam Harris, a groin problem. Brett Stewart won't be back after that back injury. Now, this is the 69th occasion these two have met. When we talk about records, the Sharks' biggest win against Manly was 32-4 here in 1999. So that's been eclipsed already. The biggest win in their history, 64-14 against Newcastle in 2002.
What an afternoon that was here at Toyota Park for the Sharks faithful. They had a sort of scoreline on the cards today if they can go on with it. Monaghan now comes back to Menzies, who links up with Kylie Luluwai. He sees Nutley and Gallen there, loses the ball on the tackle, and then Hilda trying to pick it up also knocked it on. So the Sharks will get possession here at their own 30-metre line.
I think he had no control, mate.
You see Luluwai carrying the football, looking to offload with Witt coming in close support. Manly, what do you do in this situation? 38-0.
Make sure we're buying them properly.
You know you have to win the second half, but you can't afford to worry about the actual scoreline, 38 points. You've just got to build your way into it again. Deep down, you know you probably aren't going to win the contest, win the game, but it's all about momentum, as Greg Alexander just touched on. Especially they've got a difficult game coming up next week against the Warriors. They don't want to be going into that game feeling lethargic and feeling as though their skills are letting them down.
That will be, of course, back at Brookvale. You never know what to expect from the Warriors, who have contributed, of course, to Manly being in this position where now it will be 1 win from their last 8 games, and yet they are still 4 points clear of their rivals, or 3 points, of course, of the Bulldogs. So they have just gone nowhere in recent times, and still they are comfortably going to make the top 8, it seems, at this stage. Here is Beau Scott looking for the second try of his afternoon, and he'll get one. The ball hit the deck. It was called 6 again by Tim Mander, and then suddenly Beau Scott had a chance to grab number 2.
Well, that's too easy, because in the lead-up to this try, the pass went to ground, and then Luke Cavell, putting a little grubber kick through, was touched by Maddai, and then Beau Scott just picks it up and goes over. So when the pass goes to ground, you still need to be moving forward, and you still got to be committed. And they just hung off coming across the Manly players, and Beau Scott, simple try.
We saw Luke Cavell a couple of times last week show a remarkable ability to be able to stay in the field of play. Last week it was a spectacular kick against the Roosters to keep the ball in play, and he scored a try also in that same corner that Beau Scott has also just scored in. Of course, last week they were at Aussie Stadium against the Roosters, but it's 42 points to 0 here now, and Luke Cavell from wide out can add another 2 to the scoreline. After that game against the Warriors next week, getting back to Manly for the moment. They will finish the season with a clash against the Raiders, who, despite being short-staffed themselves, have done so well in recent times to remain as competitive as they have been. They almost snatched a win last night against the Cowboys. What a kick by Cavell. I don't know how he does that, but he puts a purposeful fade on the ball from that side of the field and opens up the angle for him. In doing so, it's 44 points to 0. He does this on purpose.
Oh, well, Warren, you're the goal-kicking expert of the commentary team. How does he do it?
I'm impressed.
You've been kicking out there with Haslam. You know what he puts on the football. Come on, let us know.
I don't know. That's good. That is very, very good. To be able to slice it like that on purpose to help the angle from the wrong side of the field for the left footer, that is clever. We might ask him and get him to show us on NRL on Fox, perhaps. Here is Luke Williamson. He'd like to slice the ball into the bay and hope that it never returned, given the scoreline. They're not quite going at the same pace as the clock at the moment, but there's time to rectify that in this second half. Here's Gallen now, coming back in behind the play the ball, stopped by Luluwai and also Cleal. Vangana to Mayava. They just had that look about them at the moment that they could crack Manly with every play. Kingston coming back to Kamali, who will give it to Hilda. And stop him there just sort of the halfway line. Now it's Kamali again. Gallen will play it, 43 out from the Manly line on the last tackle here in this set of 6. He comes back to the right-hand side and he kicks for the corner. The wingers were playing up in the line. Stevenson got a poor bounce. Now it's there for the Sharks again. And Kamali makes it a hat-trick. On a rare afternoon for the Sharks. We've had 52 minutes of play. They've scored 48 points. That will be 50 in 30 seconds' time.
Well, what do you say? Just some great play. Some great play by the winger, just chasing through. He could have given up on that chase, Luke Cavell. He could have just went, well, we've kicked it downfield, we'll get some field position, and we'll make the tackle. But he didn't. He chased down. He didn't give up. The bounce favoured him. He kicked it through, and who was there? The number 7 and skipper, Kamali. Look at the smile on his face. Well, coming into this game, minus 42. All of a sudden, they're plus 6.
That's remarkable, isn't it? They're out of the negatives and into the positives. From the red to the black in a hurry. Stuart Raper is at the bench with Michael Sullivan, who would seem to be superfluous this afternoon. They don't need him. Leave him there, Stuart, and give him a rest. He'll come on. What sort of damage is he going to cause when he comes on?
I'd hate to think. But if there was some doubt about his hamstring injury, you certainly wouldn't be rushing him back. You could be tempted to just let him sit there, give him another week's rest. But I'm sure in this type of form that the Sharks are displaying, Sullivan can see some opportunities out there.
Well, if Cavell kicked the previous one from the sideline, this one should be a doddle. And it is. It's 50 points to 0. The half century is up. Declare and send them in, Brandy.
Can you believe it, too? 3 tries to Brett Kamali. Look, he's copped a lot of criticism this year after Origin 1. The Sharks were great, and so was Brett Kamali before Origin 1, and their form and his form has really struggled ever since. He had a terrific game here a fortnight ago against the Storm, where he came up with 4 try assists. I thought it might have taken that sort of effort again today for the Sharks to win. He's done better than that, hasn't he? 3 tries, laid on a few others. It's been a great performance by him.
Here's the kickoff again for David Peachy. He plays it off the arm. It bounces back for him, and then Hutch Mayava will bring it back here for the Sharks. We're heading to a record loss for the Sea Eagles unless they can do something in the next 25 minutes remaining in this game. The biggest ever loss came just last year, if you cast your mind back to a game against the Panthers where they were beaten 72 points to 12. 60 was the difference on that occasion. Well, here we are with plenty of time on the clock, and already they're down by 50. Luluwai will play it at the halfway line. Kamali back on the inside for Gallen. He looked dangerous once again. Williamson did well. Clear was over the top. Now Kamali chipping in behind them this time. Scottish chasing. This time the bounce isn't such a bad one for Manly. Hicks gets to it. And there was a chance for the Sharks to perhaps come up with a voluntary tackle call, but Hicks heard the referee's play on, and he plays it back to Matai now, who has stopped just outside the Manly 10-metre line.
You'd love a penny for what the Manly players would be thinking at the moment. 50 down, 25 minutes to go. They must be going, what's going on? How did this happen?
And how are we going to play in the finals, more importantly?
Well, you said it before. 1 out of their last 9, and they're still going to be 3 points clear of 9th place team. Unbelievable.
There have been a group of teams in the middle of the NRL ladder who couldn't beat time with a stick at the moment, and the Sea Eagles are one of them. But as you say, barring a miracle, they're going to be there in week 1 of the finals. Here's Williamson to Kennedy, who gives it to Witt. Simmons came in. Witt threw a ball to Nigel Vungen, and now there's trouble. He had only Clear in front of him. Matai got back there in a hurry and did well to stop Vungana.
I thought he'd done a hemi the way he pulled up. Nigel Vungen didn't want to run, didn't want to take Kane Clear long. I think there was another try there for him.
Maybe, as Ken McGuinness once said famously, playing for the Magpies, when he pulled up with nobody in front of him, he said, I expected to feel pain. Maybe Nigel had similar thoughts running through his head. Here's Kamali, slowly back to his feet. Dunley was there in the tackle again. He's been involved in a bit of everything today. Here's Hilda, chopped down from behind by Williamson. Last play again. There's Sullivan. A ball on from Gallen to Nigel Vungana. Oh, there's nothing wrong with Nigel. He can still put on a try celebration with the best of them. It's 54 points to 0. It's about to become 56 points to 0. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm out of words, Laurie.
That's just class. That's skill. That is skill at its best. Great hole runner, Vungana. Great support player. Sullivan out of dummy half, picking up Gallen, bang over the head. They can do no wrong. And the man with the best goatee in the business, Warringah, scores the try. Well, how easy is that? That's unbelievable. Easy put down by Warringah, but the pass by Gallen. When you're in this type of form, you just know that someone's going to be there. You can get away with throwing those type of passes. Other days, you think someone's going to be there, or it may go onto the chest, but it bounces out. But when they're in this mood, the Sharks look out. 54 blocks.
Cavell from underneath the black dot will make it 56. If they keep on going and the margin gets no smaller, this will be the Sharks' biggest ever win, and they could well hand Manly their biggest ever loss on the same afternoon. 21 minutes to go here still. They can scarcely believe that scoreboard. Danny Nutley trying to comprehend it. Well, does that say 56, he's saying to himself?
Well, it does. You'd get a message to the strappers to go and get the beers on ice. The boys will be celebrating tonight. And why wouldn't they?
I don't know what Manly will be drinking. Here's Williamson again. They have been using a supplement called Lactaway, which helps remove lactic acid from tired muscles. They say it helps in recovery. They'll need a container ship full of it to get through the next week. Here's Gallen. Comes back on the inside there for Beau Scott. That Lactaway stuff costs something like $300 a litre, Laurie. It'll send Manly broke.
Well, I hope they haven't been using it in the last 10 weeks. Ooh, Hutch.
Getting up and having a few words to say with Shane Dunley.
He can get under the skin of some players, Shane Dunley.
Under the skin, he should be a beautician. He can rile opposition players. Now Kennedy will be penalised.
Just wait.
Well, Ben Kennedy had some advice for the referee there, saying you've fallen for it, you know what he's like, but Des Hasler That's a grim face indeed, isn't it? Watching on from the grandstand here at Shark Park, Toyota Park. It's 70s week. You can call it what you like today. Endeavour Field,
Ronson Field,
Caltex,
Shark Park.
any more we can think of. Here's Peachy. What about Centurion Field if they rack up the 100 here today? Here's Sullivan coming to Kamali. Bailey, you get him off the park. He's only just back out there, of course, but he's got a broken arm, or what's left of one that's still repairing, of course. Now Sullivan. Here's Kamali taking it to the line. Oh, a ball back on the inside. Or Mellor, had he been ready for it, he was going to score another one himself.
I don't believe that. Rewind it. That didn't happen. It can't happen when they're in this type of form, the Sharks. Kamali going to the line. Late cross play. Mellor dropping it. You could see Kamali sensing there was an opportunity.
Well, Mellor gave up, didn't he? He thought, I'm the decoy and the decoy only.
Always surprises me that, though, when you run a decoy and you're not expecting it. Why run it in the first place?
Well, especially when Brett Kamali is laying on try after try for everybody and scoring 3 himself, the 3rd time he scored a hat-trick in his NRL career, and you run towards a hole and don't expect the ball. It won't cost them too badly. Lulawat taking it to the line and giving it to Michael Monaghan. Here is Watmo coming back to Paul Stevenson. Menzies running at Kamali. He lost the ball. It might have been helped out by a Shark, but given the way things have gone today, it's played on from the referee, and they have it just outside the 30. Looking for try number 11 in this set of 6. A long ball bouncing up here. That will help the Manly defence get across there and slide to cover up. As Williamson stops with the help of Michael Witt is Gallen. Here's Peachy now. Coming to Stevens. Hilda showing it. Looking like a halfback himself suddenly. Everybody wants to get the first receiver and lay something on. Sullivan goes back to Peachy. Gallen runs the decoy this time. It comes back to Beau Scott. He's only 4 metres away from the line. Sullivan again from dummy half. Taking them on himself. He pops it out the back for Gallen. He'll spin and get across the line. He laid one on, of course, for Nigel Vungana with a clever little tip on overhead. They're in again in the 63rd minute. It is 60 points to 0.
Hold the phone. They want a hole. They need a hole, the Manly players. They want to get off the field. It's been an embarrassing performance by Manly. But the Sharks take nothing away from them. They've played some great football. But Manly, the commitment hasn't been there. And there you can see themselves feeling it, knowing that they've let a lot of people down. Not only themselves, but the supporters, the staff, the coaching staff, and everyone to do with the club. Very, very disappointing performance by this Manly outfit.
For the Sharks, it's only the 2nd time in their history that they've scored 60 points or more in a game. As we said, their biggest ever previous win was a 50-point margin against the Knights here back in August of 2002. That Manly fan, is he going to wave his flag? Surely not. I thought he might have been maybe wrapping it up and going home.
He's going to be defiant till the end. And good on him. I suppose that's what supporters are all about. Good times, bad times.
Wow, it's the worst of times at the moment. Luke Cavell from wide out once again with his patented fade, helped by the breeze. He makes it 62 points to 0. It's time for a sweepstake, boys. I'm going to ask you what you think the final score might be. Laurie, you get first call.
I'll go 80.
Brandy, what are you thinking?
I think it could get to 80. That 72-12 loss to the Panthers certainly looks in danger. If nothing changes now, this will be Manly's biggest ever defeat, 62 points. When you look at the possession, 35 sets to the Cronulla side, and they are in red-hot form. Only 22 to Manly. They completed 14.
14 of 22. They've played 65 minutes, Manly, and only had 22 sets in the entire game. This could be a record NRL low for most or least number of sets in a game by a team. It's amazing. All sorts of records are going to get racked up here this afternoon to complete the sweepstakes. I'm going to say 76. I think the Sharks might put the whip away here in the final 10 minutes, although they might have something else planned. Here is Hutch Mayava helping out my cause by dropping the ball just inside the 30-metre line.
Oh, look, I'm like all Shark supporters. I think I got a bit excited going to 80. But there you see Hutch Mayava. Could have been a penalty there to the Sharks. He might go easy on them as well, Tim Mann, in these last 14 minutes.
Here's Michael Monaghan from the scrum base. It comes to Paul Stevenson. Michael Monaghan again in the papers in the last couple of days saying that everything that's gone on this season with the negotiations with himself and Matt Orford and what effect that's had on the team, he said it has had an effect. It's hard to gauge, of course, how much of an effect, but all you can say is since the conjecture about the captain's future at the club started, Manly have won 1 of 8 games in that time. Now, the problem here for Shane Dunley, he's slow to get back to his feet, and he clutches at his head, not for the first time this afternoon. Here's Kennedy going in behind Williamson, running the decoy line for him. Comes on the right-hand side to Steve Matai. Now he's slow to get back up. They are wounded in all sorts of ways, Manly. Witts putting the crossfield bomb in. Pressure here on Simmons and Vangana. Well, Steve Menzies flies above them and comes down with a try.
Well, they're harsh, these Shark supporters. No one's clapping. Good take by Steve Menzies. The kick went across. He's a try-scoring machine. Hasn't been a happy day for this club, but they have been able to at least get 1 try on the board. He rises above David Simmons, comes down with the football, Menzies.
That's what they've been doing wrong, Manly. They should have been putting up bombs from the very first tackle. Bomb at every opportunity. It's the only way they were going to get across the line, it seems, today. 62 points to 4. Michael Witt, 15 in from the sideline. Can make it 62-6. What a time to come back for this player. Of course, has been playing Premier League for them. Gets a chance today and runs into an avalanche of points here at Toyota Park. He is a good kicker, though. And he strikes this one well. He makes it 62 points to 6. We've got 12 minutes left here on NRL Sunday. 68 points total in the game. We've seen Manly in past seasons involved in some games where when they lose, they can lose by a very large margin. I go back to the final round of, was it the 2002 season, where the Panthers racked up an amazing scoreline against them at home at Brookvale Oval.
Yeah, we were there that day. Manly only had to win that game and they would have made the semi-finals, of course. It was a huge scoreline that day, similar to this one.
Here's Mark Bryant, who's been on the bench for a good period now in this game. He's stopped by Bailey. And also Philip Luluai. Monaghan gives it to Anthony Watmo. They have struggled, of course, without Watmo on the field, but I would say even with him out there during this streak, given that he missed so many games, 6 of them, in fact, for the Seagulls, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference for them. Here is Witt going to Williamson, ducking under the tackle there of Beau Scott. He flips it out the back. It comes back to Matai, who then gives it back to Stevenson. He'll bring it back towards the halfway line to be stopped by Mayava and also Hilda. Dunn goes to Kennedy, who is still going. He's only got Peachy in front of him. The fullback gets to him. He was looking for Michael Witt, who was looming up on the outside, but he couldn't find Witt. Now Monaghan goes in behind them. A pass off the foot there of Hicks. That's okay. Matai picks it up and then grabs for himself. Peachy snatches it away from Matai and keeps it in the field of play. And now Dave Simmons brings it back towards the 20. And Tim Mann is excited, giving us a woo-hoo.
I think he was woo-hooing at David Peachy, the calmness and the coolness that he showed.
You don't think he was looming up in support, looking for a 4-pointer himself, Timmy Mander?
No, Timmy Mander, he's excited.
Here's Sullivan playing it. Comes to Peachy.
It's the first time I've heard him in general play use a woo-hoo. I thought he was just a kick-off man, a restart man for the Woohoos.
Maybe he saves it when the scoreline reaches 60 or more. Stevens to Sullivan. Here's Kamali. There's a chance on this right-hand side. Bailey comes to Menzies, but they've been able to regather the numbers there. Although a pass from Bailey to Peachy is a good one. He was looking for Kamali. He hung on to it. I think had he passed, Kamali was going to score. Here he is from dummy half. It goes to Sullivan. He puts a kick in. Hicks looking up into the sunlight. Had Luke Cavell on top of him, who was trying to knock it back in field play, but it came back towards the dead ball line, and the Manly will bring it back out to their own 20.
Yeah, the kick too deep. Cavell doing his best to try and force it back into the field of play. But I think you're right. If Peachy had to turn the ball back on the inside to Brett Kamali, it may have been another four-pointer coming up.
Monahan kicking for the sideline. You wonder sort of what effect mentally the results in the last couple of weeks have had on Manly. Of course, coming here today, had the Roosters won last night against the Rabbitohs in that nail-biter at Aussie Stadium, then a loss for Manly would have seen them just 2 points clear of the Roosters. But the Bulldogs lost on Friday night by a big scoreline themselves. That kept Manly 3 clear, and of course they're 4 clear of both the Roosters and the Raiders. Maybe mentally they thought, well, it doesn't matter if we lose because we can't do any worse than we are.
Yeah, but that's an excuse, and I don't think these players will be using that as an excuse. There was plenty to play for coming here this afternoon. There was a semi-final spot up for grabs. It wasn't do or die for them, but if they won, the opportunity was to confirm themselves in this year's final series. They've still got 2 games up their sleeves, but a hiding like this can mentally deflate you. They're coming up against an unpredictable team with the Warriors next weekend. You don't know how they're going to play. They may get some injuries out of this game, Manly. You know, they don't trust their skills. They don't trust one another. They don't have the faith in their defensive line. But teams usually bounce back. I think that's one thing in their favour. Teams usually bounce back after a performance like this. And they get a great opportunity at home next Saturday night when they do take on the Warriors. It's a night game, and they're on their home turf. The crowd will certainly get out there and support the Manly team, get right behind them, and they'll be looking to erase the memories of this performance.
With mistakes and a couple of penalties towards the end of the game here, it really is grinding to a halt at Toyota Park. 62 points to 6. The Sharks have made a couple of mistakes in their last couple of sets. 7 minutes remaining. It'll be intriguing over the next couple of weeks. Sure, the Raiders, the Roosters and the Bulldogs, given that they have all struggled in recent times, we'll be thinking, well, boy, this side is there for the taking. And the Raiders played the Sea Eagles in the final round of the season. So if any of those 3 teams can muster 2 consecutive wins in the final couple of weeks, if the Warriors beat Manly next week, the Raiders themselves will think they've got a shot, although they have to take on the Eels next week in round 25. Here's Stevenson playing it for Donald. Comes to Monahan, back on the inside for Watmo. The one thing we do know, though, is we have 7 teams in the 2005 final series. The Sharks, with this win, they are the 7th team to qualify. Where they finish in that top 8 is still yet to be decided. Monahan goes to Witt, who dummied, came back to his left towards the post, and then the ball somehow was intercepted by Jason Stevens.
Steve-O's been everywhere.
He plucked it off his fingertips.
He's been everywhere, Steve-O. In the early part of the game, he was good carrying the ball forward over the advantage line, running with plenty of aggression.
Kamali thought he was halfway through a gap. He wanted to cop one across the chops there from Shane Dunley for his trouble on the way through.
That man again.
Here's Bailey playing it for Peachy. Vangana goes to Manua, who is stopped there by Williamson and also Kennedy. Anthony Watno will go up the tunnel here. He looks to have a problem for the Sea Eagles. Here's Kamali giving it to Matt Hilda. Last tackle in this set of 6. Sullivan to Kamali. He will put a kick in, perhaps taking a little bit of mercy here on Manly. Well, Stevenson and Donald fell over in unison. It was synchronised slipping. And coming through, there was a chance for the Sharks to once again come up with a try similar to the one we saw earlier, where the bounce was a terrible one for Stevenson, and Kamali scored. Now here's Simmons. He takes an intercept from Kennedy. He draws the fullback and gives it to Nigel Vungana, who gets the third try of his afternoon, number 121 in his career. It's 66-6. The number of the beast is on the scoreboard.
Well, Kennedy's tried hard today in a badly beaten team, and I'm sure he's come into this game not 100% fit. Carrying the football, looking to offload, but David Simmons gets himself in a position to receive the football, and from there he just sums it up. One of the best support players in the game, Vungana there. He's a much improved player too, this kid, David Simmons. Positionally very aware of where he needs to be. Got plenty of speed. He's learning every week. And there he is, 3 tries today.
Well, Manly's biggest ever loss before this was that 60-point margin last year against the Panthers. It is 60 here now, with Cavell to kick from a fairly simple angle, given his prowess with the boot here this afternoon. He catches a fair bit of water in that goatee, doesn't he, Nigel Vungana? Saving some for later on, maybe.
I think he might be. Well, it's the best in the business, isn't it? Like, players have had goatees before and they've had moustaches, but I don't think anything compares with that. A lot of work goes into that.
Something goes into it. You wouldn't want to touch it. Here's Cavell. Looking to make it 68-6. He'll take his time with it to make sure of it, and that's exactly what he does. It is 68-6. Let's go downstairs to get the thoughts from the Sharks coach, Stuart Raper.
Yeah, Stuart, can you believe this performance? 68-6.
No, I mean, you know, I'd like to think you could have one of these every so often, but you know, the guys have really applied themselves. But the pleasing thing is they've done what we've executed at training the last few weeks, and they've done it well. I know Manly are probably bruised and battered a bit, but you know, I know this. We've got a good football side. Is when things click and go our way, we can score some good tries, which we've done today.
Yeah, and it's important to build that momentum coming into the semi-finals and the final 2 rounds.
It is. Everyone, you know, is well documented. We won 2 out of our last 10 or something, but now we've won 2 out of our last 3 and only got beat by a try last week. So hopefully we can maintain a bit more momentum going in. It seems like 2 hard games against 2 form sides, Newcastle and South. So there'll be good games for us leading into the semis.
Great to see Brett Kamali in terrific form. 3 tries.
Yeah, hang on.
They're almost off again there, Stuart.
Sorry, mate.
Thanks for your time, Stuart.
No worries, Brandy. Thanks, mate.
It was all happening. Hutch Mayava was juggling the ball like he should be in Circus Oz.
That was great. Hutch over the top. That might be a new tactic for the big fella. Oh, look at that. There he goes. They practice those type of things at training. The one-hand taps above the air.
Well, Hutch Mayava has just proven why. Manly will get their last set of 6 in the game, you would imagine, right here. Here's Menzies coming back to Monahan. It's probably a fitting way for Manly to end the game with the ball in their possession. Pretty much sums up their afternoon, doesn't it? That was their 29th set of 6. They will finish the game with less than 30 sets of 6. That has to be an all-time low, surely. Kamali here.
Well, it makes it difficult to win, doesn't it?
We are inside the final 60 seconds. Let's go through the records, and there might be another try here before the siren sounds. Here's Peachy. He went straight past Matai. Run yourself, Peach. Score one. He chips over the top. Dudley gets back there to spoil the party for the Peach, and then tries to make it back to the field of play. We're going to have a penalty to the Sharks all the way back up near the 30-metre line for a player being taken out of it while in support of Peachy.
Oh, big decision coming up. Brett Kamali. The crowd, they want a 4-pointer. 10 seconds to go. Does he take the 2?
They want 70. The crowd are on their feet, pointing to the post and saying 2. They want 70. Kamali, he might think 74 is the go. Here's a kick. Sullivan chasing through. It bounces off its point. Stevenson takes it across the dead ball, and they won't make it to 70. But 68 is more than enough today. 68-6. Can you believe the score you've seen right here on NRL Sunday live at Toyota Park?